On today's episode of I Like Wasting My Money, we got this truck for $200 because it took a trip to the bottom of a pond. The guy had it parked at a shop on a hill, left it in neutral, e-brake wasn't on enough, started rolling down the hill, bounced off a tree, took out the front bumper, bent up the fender, and then went right into his pond. So you can see the level of mud in here. There's water on the dipstick. Interior has mud all the way up to the seats. Up the door panel. Had this sitting on there so I didn't get my butt wet. All the way up the steering wheel, up the gauge cluster. But you hook the battery up, you turn it on, the fuel pump primes, all the gauges come to life. Really is a solid truck for around here. Somebody's painted the bed. Usually they're going back here. Somebody's done some repair. Believe it or not, that's still pretty solid from around here. You can see all the Bondo in that. Cab's good. Manual, 5-speed, 306. Let's start by draining the oil, pulling the plugs, and see what we get. All right, we're up under the truck. I just cracked the plug. We already got water dumping out. Let's see how much we get. Oh yeah. Plug's coming out hard, which I don't like. I was hoping to just spin it out. I don't know when we're getting to the end here. I'm probably gonna get coated. No oil yet. There, now it's loose. Get this situated. And, oh my God. Water, water, water. Still water. I'm gonna have to plug this back up and change pans. This whole thing's about full. Get a little bit closer. Any day now. Yeah. Okay. Let me dispose of this and we'll go for round 2. Okay. Let's see how much we get this time. Still water. Still water. Looks like we're gonna have to go for round 3 here. It's almost full again. Okay, let's dump this out. You know the drill. Round 3. Not good. I wish they would have drained this right after it happened, but now it's been sitting for a couple of weeks like this. So we don't know what condition the engine's going to be in. Hopefully not too bad. The water itself looks pretty clean. As clean as pond water can be, I guess. Seriously. Okay, we're going to have to go for round 4. Still have not got to any oil. Wow. Must have been filled all the way up to the dipstick tube. At this point, I don't know how much water's in here. I'm just gonna come back once it's done. Save some time, I'm just letting it drain the water out, and as soon as I see a sign of oil, I'll hurry and push the pan back under. But since oil floats on top of water, this should be pretty clean. It's not hurting anything right now. As soon as I see some oil, I'll shove it back under there. Still going. I have to use the bathroom. Oh, here we go. There's some oil. Now we're talking. Finally. Save some time, I'm just letting it drain the water out, and as soon as I see a sign of oil, I'll hurry and push the pan back under. But since oil floats on top of water, this should be pretty clean. It's not hurting anything right now. As soon as I see some oil, I'll shove it back under there. Still going. I have to use the bathroom. Oh, here we go. There's some oil. Now we're talking. Finally. You know, I wonder, since it separates, I guess I could have drained it till I saw oil and put the plug back in just to try to get it running. Because regardless, we're going to have some moisture in there until it gets some heat. But we'll go ahead and change it out. It's not going to hurt anything. We'll have to turn around and change it again if it ends up running good. We're just going to contaminate our new oil. But I'll come back when I'm pulling the plugs out and we'll take a look, see if there's water in the cylinders. Well, that answers the question. There's definitely water in the cylinders. It's been sitting there for weeks. Come on, get in there. So, hard to see, the light's not that great, but dumping water. Let's take a look. Where are we at? Where's the camera? There we go. Definitely wet. Pull them all out, dry them off. Crank it over a couple times, blow all the water out and put it back, and we should be okay. Don't see any rust, so it should crank over. That's what we're hoping for. Okay, we'll come back when we got them all out of there. All right, this is what I ended up with. We got two different brands of spark plugs. We got the right Motorcraft. Where am I at? Here. Motorcraft plugs, and we got two auto lights thrown in. Don't know why. A couple of the plugs were loose. I could take them out by hand. The others were over torqued, and I thought I was going to snap them off trying to get them out. So, yeah, I tend to see that a lot on Fords. Not trying to say anything, but see that kind of stuff on a lot of Fords. Okay, our battery is unhooked. Had a little bit of charge because the lights came on when I hooked it up last. Don't know anything about it. We're going to see if it cranks over and how much water it spits out. If I can get it into neutral, that is. Kind of stuck in gear. So we got a little bit of tension on it tied down to the trailer. See if I can't pop it out. Okay, it's out. Oh, it smells terrible in here. We got some power. Let's see, I'll stick you guys around here and try to reach through and crank it. See what we can see. Nothing. Have to have the clutch in. Oh yeah. Holy shit. There's some water in there. Woo! Man, got some pressure. Got me good. Yeah, we'll let it sit for a second and come back and try that again. Okay, we got the plugs back in, they're cleaned up, wires are on. We're gonna pop the cap off the distributor and blow it out with air. We're gonna pull that filter off, make sure there's no water in it, but we put some cheap oil back in it. Once we get that taken care of, we'll come back and crank it over and see if it fires up. Okay, we ended up having a filter that fit, so we went ahead and replaced that. Blew out the cap and rotor in there, all the moisture. Rotor had a little bit of surface rust, so we cleaned that off. Hopefully it has spark. Getting ready to hop in now and crank it over and see what happens. We don't know if the rear end of the truck was underwater. It looks like from the water line inside that it may have gotten away from it, maybe above. We'll try it out. Think those two are swapped?
I think so. We need to check it.
Okay, we tried to start it, wouldn't do it. Checked the fuel, and it was mostly water, so it did get in the fuel tank. We went ahead and siphoned that out, but we don't have any gas here, so we're gonna run the gas cans to town, get some gas, pour it in, bleed it, make sure we got all the water out of the fuel line, anything that's left over, and then try to start it. In the meantime, while somebody's off to get gas, I'm gonna quickly pressure wash the engine bay and get all this dirt and mud off here and see how it cleans up. I'll come back when it's done. Okay, here we are the next day after the pressure washing. See, it looks quite a bit better. You can actually see things. He's gone over again. But something you might notice is the truck's not parked where it was before. That's because we got it running and it wasn't easy. What you guys missed off camera was me fighting this thing to get the water out of the system. We drained it till the tank we thought was empty. We put 5 gallons of gas in, tried to start, messed with that for a while, and then the pump wasn't pushing anything. Figured, okay, that's the fuel filter, might as well take that off and check it. Could not get it off. I've never had trouble with quick disconnect lines like I have with this truck trying to get the filter disconnected, which is underneath the truck on the inside of the frame rail, the back side of there. Could not. We even had the right tool for it and everything. Would not fit, would not release. Spent hours at that. Gave up on that for a minute. Dropped the tank to see if I could see if there's something wrong with the pump, why it wasn't outputting any pressure. Dropped the tank, took that apart, didn't see anything, put the tank back up, went back to messing with the filter, finally got it off and put a new one in that happened to come with that truck that we just bought. Put that in, water came out of the old filter, so we figured, hey, that was probably it. Turned the key and it fired up. Didn't run good, but it ran well enough to idle on its own. Smoked awful. The clutch was stuck, rusted to the flywheel, so had to crank it in gear. That popped free. Then I was able to take it from there and drive it up to here. It's been sitting an hour or two. Let's go ahead and see if it'll fire up on its own again without using any type of starting fluid. Let's see what we get. Clutch in. Okay. See, you're still burning off some stuff. but it runs. I've had it running for a little bit. Let's just go ahead and see how nasty this new oil is. I assume it's all milky. There's a lot of moisture in there. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that's awful. So we shouldn't run it anymore. We'll have to go ahead and drain this out again. Get in there. 5 quarts of new oil wasted. Well, not wasted. Did its job. Yeah, it's just a lot of moisture in the crankcase. But I think once we drain that again, we need to check the transmission. So we'll drain that and the rear end, and we'll have a running, moving truck. It does have a blown brake line. I don't know if that's related or if it got caught on something when they pulled it back out of the pond. It needs that, and then we'll go on to detailing. Get all the mud out of the interior and see if we can get the radio working. Probably not. If it was underwater, we'll have to replace it, but we'll get it looking like a truck again. Okay, that's it for this one. Tune in next time and we'll see how far we get.